Well, Ruben, even though we just said this off the podcast, how are you doing? Just because it sounds like the thing you're supposed to say at the beginning of a podcast.
Right. No, I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good.
Staying busy.
Staying busy, booking a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Saw you had some punk bands over there at Timber a while back and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we just confirmed a bunch of shows for the rest of the year. So
getting it all buttoned down.
Yeah.
So we can cruise. Cool. And obviously we're going to talk about Fest 4 it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this year it looks like there's a bit more bands and a bigger venue, all that kind of stuff. We out of the heat this time, even though last year was still really cool. It was a little bit hot outside, but whatever happens. And it's a different time of month or different time of year. So it will be obviously better on that too. We all know that there's a bunch of bands playing there. What else is going on? There's going to be like booths or anything, or how does that all work?
Yeah, we're going to have there's going to be vendors there selling a bunch of local arts and crafts. And then we have our art and poetry garden outside. So there'll be poets and artists outside, displaying art, sharing their works. And that'll be going on all day as well. So now the difference this year is there was 2 music stages and then the outdoor stage that did poets and music.
Cool.
So this time we have 3 dedicated music stages and now a dedicated poet stage.
Right. So the outdoor like acoustic solo set stage is going to be exclusively for music, and the poet stuff will be at their own separate area, and that little outdoor area with the bushes and stuff like that. And the misters are at. Is that the outdoor garden? Cool. That's what I figured. Yeah, that'll be a good atmosphere for that. Like if people want to just chill and sip on a beer and eat a meal or something like that, and listen to what the poet's got going on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean?
Cool.
Keep it nice and chill out there. Everyone can sit down, take a break, be under the misters, that kind of thing.
And then I'm guessing arts and booths and whatnot. So is let me throw out some names and make sure. Is the Wasteland zine on there? I'm guessing
Wasteland will be there.
And then Vintage Beth's clothing company.
Revolution
Vintage. Cool. Yeah, so let's name a couple. I don't know all of them, but they were there last year. So
yeah, Canvas Ware's coming back.
Of course, Canvas. Yeah, Doug. Can't forget about him. Yeah, he's been doing that graphics design for a long time. Those are all good people. So what? If you don't mind, I mean, if it's too like. I don't mean like to put you on the spot type of way, just from your end of the deal of booking bands constantly. And I've never thrown a festival. Well, I never thrown a festival, and I've never done anything this big. What was it that was good last year that you dug, and what was it that you wanted to have change? And were you able to kind of accommodate that? You know what I mean? Because you're dealing with like a lot of moving parts. You know what I mean? Is it like anything like that you would like to change from last year's thing? I have nothing in mind. No, I thought last year was a blast. You know what I mean? But I'm just curious because I'm not from your, I'm just in the band. So we just make sure our music's ready and kind of show up on time and set up and play. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious for like, from your end of the coin, I guess you could say, how is that? Is there anything like that you would want to do differently? Or is it just pretty much the same deal, but better because it's a bigger building, maybe better sound or something? Or
yeah, I mean, we learned a lot from last year. Last year, we were decided to do Fest again, bring it back because we had done it years ago, and then we kind of put it together real fast,
right?
And got everyone on it and had a good time. But it was an overwhelming success. I mean, it was
a blast.
There was a lot of people. It was super fun. Had a great time.
Yeah.
But we also learned a lot. So this year we plan to correct. And they're not even mistakes, but things that could have been done different.
Sure.
So I mean, this year alone, we're upping the production value. So all the PAs are bigger than they were last year.
Gotcha.
We are, we're adding the 3rd stage. We're going to have photo opportunities. We're actually going to be streaming live all day. We have an on-air talent. She's going to come out and be on the Instagram live all day, just kind of talking to bands, interviewing people, interviewing customers as well. And kind of giving everyone a insight to what it's like. So hopefully people at home see it a little bit and they're like, hey, let's go. Like, that seems kind of fun.
That's pretty cool. That definitely, I mean, like, I agree. Last year, from what I could tell, it looked like a success. I had a lot of fun. There's a crap load of people there. Had a blast. But that's cool. You're adding that kind of stuff to kind of make more of a presence online during and maybe even post the event happening, right? Because people are going to be able to see this stuff and watch it as even if they, when Fest 4 is passed, right? Because it's going to be on like streaming stuff, like that goes away on Instagram. I can't remember.
No, you could save some of it and leave it on there. And yeah, exactly. We wanted to be able to
make more of a presence.
And because last year, the people who I mean, we were supposed to post during the day of like what was going on, but it was just so busy that we, there was a couple pictures snapped and all the posts came after Fest.
Right.
Like, hey, remember, it was great.
Right.
And that's why this year I wanted to try and capture a lot of stuff in the moment. So we have somebody dedicated just directly to streaming live. And like I said, interviewing customers, interviewing bands, showing what it's like. And then they'll even do some stuff leading up to it. Like they'll be there when we're building the site.
That's cool.
And all that, so you'll get to see a bunch of different aspects of it.
Sweet, that'll be cool. That's exciting, man. That's a really cool thing. It sounds like go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
Post maybe some posters, smaller posters or something like tag us on Instagram at so that people there with their phones, stuff like that, because there's gonna be a lot of people taking videos and pictures and stuff. So it might be a good idea to have some stuff around that just tells people, hey, add us to your Instagram post.
Right.
Oh yeah, no,
that's Fest, right?
So, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because even we're trying to make more of an online presence this year than we did last year, and then like I said, we learned a lot from last year is that we're changing some stuff, and then of course the venues completely changed. Jerry's was great and they were super good to us, and we had a blast there, but for everyone who went and everyone who's listening to this who did go, it was packed.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
Yeah, there was a point where I was like having to push my elbow between people, like I have to get to the stage.
Yeah.
And this year we're hoping to give everyone a little more space, but it also makes space for other fun things. So we still have the arts and crafts vendors coming out, and then we have a guy coming out. We just did a barcade night at Tumblr where there's a bunch of video games and you can come out and drink some beers and play video games, and he'll be returning to Fest, so there'll be video game
arcade style, like big, or are we talking like be able to have like a Nintendo 64 set up, or like what kind of like?
So he builds like these consoles like that are like the top of an arcade game, with the joystick and buttons, but inside they're programmed, so then they're hooked to a TV.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
Then there's a bunch of different games in there, so you can just choose your games, like
That's
all the classics and a bunch of stuff, and even some custom ones he's made.
That's
so
cool.
He'll be out. That's Danny the retro historian.
Nice.
And he'll set up there, so there'll be a few video games to play, and then we have photo opportunities coming out, a couple of cool like backdrops that are going to be displayed.
Oh, right.
For people to take pictures, and so same thing. We wanted to promote posting it online and sharing some of your memories with it with us as well, so we can repost, and bringing that new online aspect to it.
That's cool, man. That's it sounds like there's gonna be constant stimulation, which is good. It's supposed to be. It's a festival, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like that. That's perfect. I would have never thought of those things. Man, you got to have a lot of irons in the fire. You know what I mean? To be handling all that stuff, that would stress me out.
I know my team gets frustrated because like we'll be talking about something, but the back of my mind will work on something else, and I'm like, did we order the banner for main stage, and they're like, I'm talking about the Chris Shiflett show, and I'm like I know, I get that, but there's also that we still have to do that too.
Right. That's complicated. The Chris Shiflett show will be cool too, but this seems like way more of a production, which is, I can't remember where. Oh no, it was a magazine. It was the Bakersfield Life magazine. Dave Anderson was generous enough to throw my name in the hat, which they let me do a quick little interview where they just typed everything out, and I just was saying it asked to talk about some things that you wish were different with the music scene, some things that were good with the music scene. The things that I mentioned was I actually brought up Fest and that. This is a couple months ago now, but I brought that up briefly along with 3 Days in Space, and it's hard for rock bands, it seems like, to find a place to play where there's people there that want to see original rock music. Like, it's not just like a cover band. Not knocking cover bands. That's the cool thing about music. There's no rules, and you do whatever you want. You know what I mean? But it's also really cool for the bands that want to play original music that's loud, that's not for like a dinner crowd. You know what I mean? And it's tough to do that right now. There's a lot of places having music, but it's a lot of more mellow stuff at a lot of places. Like, I'm talking like restaurants, breweries, and that kind of thing. There's some stuff places having some heavy stuff, but it's not like you just go to Jerry's on a Friday or Sandrini's, whenever time period it was, and on Friday and Saturday there's going to be music there, and there's probably going to be mostly original acts, and there's going to be people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I brought up Fest and 3 Days in Space, the other one that they do a pretty good job, I think, where it's really good for the music scene on that end of it. Like, if if I had Roscoe going still, we could go there and just crank our amps up and play some rock and roll, and it's all original, and people would probably dig it in that. You know what I mean? And so it's really cool to see that, giving people, musicians doing that kind of thing, a place to play where there'll likely be a large amount of people there, I'm guessing. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up at that time too,
right.
Being able to go to Jerry's on just Friday or Saturday, like, I don't even know who's playing, but
yeah,
it's going to be fast and loud, and, let's...
A couple dudes handing out little flyers, you snag them, walk in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It was great.
And then I was in a band at that time too, so, I played a lot of music, and then, after retiring from music, and then going into the show world of it, and then obviously the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
But, now I think we're strong, the scene now is stronger than... it was even a year ago when we did Fest 3. So it seems like a lot of stuff has popped up.
It's building.
Yeah, cool little venues have popped up, and I think it's a great time. And
yeah,
I think this scene will be can thrive again like it did in the mid 2000s.
Right. It's definitely, if there's ever a time where it looks like it could move in that direction, the post-pandemic has been ironically the best thing that's happened. Like, there's a lot of bands. There's crap loads of bands going on. It's cool. And it's cool that you're offering something like this to where they can do that. Can you imagine being like 15 and doing this, or 19 or whatever? It'd be crazy. It'd be so fun. You know what I mean? It'd be so fun. And for the audience too, you touched on it just briefly, but if you want to hear about Ruben's background, about how Fest 1 and 2 happened, and 3, we did the interview on one of the previous episodes. You can go on YouTube and you can click playlists, and it'll have Ruben and Josh Little on there talking about how they met in the past, and Ruben's history on how, kind of a little bit more detail anyway, how it kind of came to where he is now. But we don't want to dig again because we already kind of went over all that before, How was the turnout? You have no way of knowing for sure, but the turnout, you think, as far as heads in the venue, looking similar or more or less, or I'm guessing not less if it's Timber. It's like
we're hoping for more. Place. We're always hoping for more.
Yeah.
But the buzz is out there. There's a lot of people posting, ready to get tickets and all that, and
I know a dude I played at an old folks home, and he listened to Hello Goodbye back in the day, and he's gonna go, and he bought a ticket. It was like he's a music fan, but he works at a senior citizens assisted living, and I played solo music, country music there.
Okay.
And anyway, we become friends. He's a really good guy and all that, but he saw the flyer and he's like, dude, I'm going to go see Hello Goodbye. That's going to be awesome. I'm buying a ticket, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's going to be, I noticed that's going to be, I think that's helping create a buzz, you know what I mean? A little bit, plus
and last year it was mostly, it was all locals.
Yeah.
And then, a couple of regionals like Fatty Cakes are from Fresno, but each year we want to potentially grow it bigger and bigger and bring, a bigger and bigger band each time, but still make space for all the locals to play.
Yeah. So I think I personally think it's a good way. That's when Jerry's is cracking off in the Dome, that's what they did. Be a bigger act, pretty big act. Sometimes, every once in a while is a huge act, right? But a bigger act and be a good, it wasn't a festival, right? So there wasn't as many bands as there was going to be for Fest 4, but there'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands opening up local apps before the big one on. And it did really well for Bakersfield to help, keep people showing up, and have a place to play consistently and all that, so anyway.
Yeah, and that's where, that's how I grew up. My old band, we used to open for some of the bigger bands when they would come to town.
Yeah.
And then, then we would do a local show. Like, we played the Dome right after, playing a really big show. And, us alone, we did 400 kids in that small room.
Jesus.
And that was all crazy local? Packed. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we headlined, and, a couple of friend bands played right before. And, that was such a great time for the music scene here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, for several years, I had my hands in the pot with Rockin' Roots.
Okay.
So that's where I learned to build the festival format. And then same thing, that I always appreciated that festival because there would be a couple of, big national acts, but then everybody was on it, locals. And, eventually we'd like to get to that size of, doing Fest at like Stramler or, somewhere big like that. And,
that's cool.
Still working on it. I've already started a couple things for next year's, just some talks with some bigger bands and stuff like that. But this year, we brought out someone bigger. We brought out, bringing out Hello Goodbye.
Yeah.
and then Hella Go By had that huge hit, Here in Your Arms, in 2008, or mid 2000s. And this is the first time they're playing as a band in quite a while.
Really?
Normally, Forrest, the singer of Hella Go By, does like DJ sets, or he'll do like solo ukulele sets where he just plays Hella Go By songs on ukulele.
Right.
Or he'll go by himself and just, sing over backing tracks.
Right.
But this is the first time that the full band will come out. So
That's
drums,
cool.
guitars, keyboards, the whole thing.
That's awesome.
So they'll do their full act for the first time in I think, post-pandemic. This will be the first time.
Really? That's so cool. That's super cool. It sounds like you guys already have your sights kind of dialed in for like the long haul with this. Like, it doesn't look like Fest is going to go away. If you're already kind of dealing with maybe the very beginnings of some people to play Fest 5. That's a good thing. That's cool, man. That's super cool.
It's cool. It's gotten there's a couple of, agents for bigger bands that, I pulled a couple of smaller bands for.
Are you allowed to talk about who you're talking to, or are you not a good idea to?
Nah, not just yet.
That's fine. That's fine.
But there's one that was he's a pretty, he's a decent agent, and he's got some big bands, and he's like, oh yeah, maybe this band would be, this, or we have this package planned next year in the summer, maybe that can be one of the stops is Fest 5. So and cool. I was like, yeah, that would, we're definitely always open to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's already some talks for 5 already.
That's so cool, man. And maybe it'll get like, if this becomes more of a thing where you're doing it annually, because this kind of thing really, it doesn't take off overnight. Like, not that like 3 was great, 4 is probably going to be great too. It's seeming like, there's a buzz out there and all that. And there's so many bands that are cool on the bill. But like, as far as doing something really humongous, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen overnight or even in a couple of years. Usually this kind of, it's got to build, you know what I mean? And it sounds like you guys are in it for the long haul, which is exciting for me. I like to see, like I said, I've been playing music in this town for a long time. So like, I like to see the local stuff thrive like that. You know what I mean? And it's cool to see you guys are doing that. You have any, personal favorite bands that you like listening to, or they're, if not, it's no big deal, obviously, but I'm just curious, like, you're still got to be a music fan.
Oh yeah.
Like totally. Locally, is there any bands you're excited to be able to catch their set, assuming you even have like 10 seconds to even stop if when the Fest 4 is going on?
I know, I'm going to be running in circles.
Yeah.
No, I'm super excited. I'll just kind of work down the list. So for me,
and I mean subjective favorites. There's a lot of good bands on there, like or not like this style, right? I just mean like, personally, I guess. What do you dig?
Michael Peter and the Monsters.
Oh, of course,
for sure, of course. can't miss that. Godspeed Your Love, Nate Parrish, Dancing Tommy, Midnight Dorset, Modern Wives.
I think Niner's gonna be on there.
Niner's gonna be on there. Rabbit Assault, they're always a party.
They're a great band.
Yeah. And then of course Andres.
Yeah.
I love Fatty Cakes. They're Fatty Cakes with Puff Pastries. They're always so much fun. I mean, last year I still remember I was running in circles. Fatty Cakes is playing, and then I could hear it, because I was upstairs at the box office.
Yeah.
I heard it, and I was like, oh, I gotta go check it out.
Yeah.
I remember like running down the stairs. As soon as I got to the bottom of the stairs, I saw like this dude just like on the ground, just shaking his ass, just throwing his ass back.
Was that the dude that had like flowers and everything? Was that the band I think of? Like the front man had like flowers in his hair or something, and there was like this hip hop element.
No, that was Lucky 8. Yeah,
dude,
they were really good.
That totally caught me off guard. Like, I did not expect it. Like the music was great, and that wasn't what I typically listen to, but I still liked the music because they were, for one, I thought they were really good players, and the song was catchy. But it had this like angstiness, and the frontman was nuts.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Tons of energy.
It was so cool. You know what I mean? I didn't have no clue who those guys were before that. That's the other thing with all these bands. There's probably gonna be like a lot of surprises to somebody who, who's a music fan. You can just go there and just catch something new that you wouldn't have thought of, that you would have even liked before, maybe, to it. Because live's a different animal, or just you never heard of them, and then you're like, oh, here's a new band I like. You know what I mean? That's kind of
and that's why we try to mix it up. I mean, we go on all sides of the spectrum. I mean, like with Hella Go By and Andres, more pop rock stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's like Steel Wheel and Scoundrel, just two bands that are going to bring just.
What kind of music though? How would you describe Steel Wheel and Scoundrel? I've never heard them.
Oh, they're both just heavy hardcore bands. I mean, cool. they're going to bring just a huge amount of intensity.
That's cool.
To it. But I mean, that's the thing with Fest. It's like we didn't want to just stick it to, we just do pop.
No,
we just do rock. We just everything. Yeah. And for that exact reason of, there's someone who's going to come and, they're going to come and like, I'm here to watch Fatty Cakes. And they might see a Scoundrel song and be like, these dudes are intense. Like, I have to come back and watch them again sometime.
Right. That's what, because like you mix up the genres, you might find a band that you already like and you maybe initially go for them, and that's good. But then like, musicians like to hear other types of music, right? And so it's like an opportunity to like, not just scrounging through Spotify or something, get to hear them live, and maybe a band you never heard that you were, I don't know. I think that's good. It's exciting. You know what I mean? It's like surprises. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's good because, cool. This time we expanded a little more, so it's a little more regional. Like there's band from Tehachapi, there's, bands from Fresno, and bands from LA. And, I'm also hoping that some of these bands use this as a networking opportunity and talk to some of these bands and start trading some shows and, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a good day. I'm also excited for dropping in. Those are good kids.
Yeah, they're great, man.
Yeah, super, super fun. But Hello Goodbye is a super special act for us. And actually, that's the reason that it took so long. I mean, I remember as summer started approaching, people were like, what's going on with Fest? What's going on with Fest? And I was like, I'm working on it.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Calling you on the phone. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm working on it. I promise I'm working on it. And the reason I was working on it is because I really wanted to get Hello Goodbye.
Yeah.
It took a long time to negotiate for them to play as a full band. And the reason that band is so special for Fest is, at the bottom of the flyer, it says it's tribute to Cody Anderson. The original Fest was, the creation of mine and Cody Anderson. We're promoters together, and he was in a band called Half Moon Drive back in the day.
I remember that band on flyers. I think I probably even seen him. Yeah.
So he was in Half Moon Drive, and then I was in my band from Ritual Romance, and we did the first Fest together, and really came up with it. And he came up with the name. Like we were in my apartment, and sitting there with a notepad, like sketching out times, and like, we could do this and we could do that. And I was like, we just don't have a name. We don't have a name. And then he was just drunk and just was like, we'll just call it Fest. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah,
it works. May as well.
Yeah, I was like, let's just call it Fest.
I think the name's great, dude. I think it's awesome.
So we stuck with it. But, he passed in several years ago. And then, but Hello Goodbye was one of his favorite bands.
Oh, really? Yeah. Right on. That's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, he actually met his wife when we did Hello Goodbye at the Dome years ago.
Really?
And so it was always a real special band for him. One of his favorites, that it was like, now that we can do this kind of thing, like let's do it, and let's I want to do a tribute to my friend.
Yeah, that's so cool. I did not know that. I mean, I think I vaguely remember you talking about that guy when we did this last year for the Fest 3, but I didn't. Honestly, I didn't know who Hello Goodbye was until it started coming out on this flyer and stuff. And I obviously had no idea that your buddy that passed, like that was such a special band to him. So that's a kind of a cool way, like you said, to pay tribute and have a crap load of people come watch.
Yeah,
music and the headliners. It was one of his favorite bands. That's cool, man.
Yeah, and it was great because like last year, his kids came out and they hung out all day and stuff, and they'll come out this year too. So actually, his wife and the kids were the first people to see the flyer. As soon as the flyer was done, I sent it to her, and I was like, "Hey, like this year, like it'll go live tomorrow, but I wanted you to be the first to see it."
Yeah.
So she, thanked me for it and everything, and all that. But I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing now if it wasn't for Cody. So
giving credit where credit's due is
so I want to, for forever. I mean, this Fest could become the size of Coachella.
Yeah.
And forever, it'll always be a tribute to Cody Anderson.
That's so cool, man. It's easy for me to sit here and say this because I didn't go through that tragedy, but sometimes out of horrible situations, really cool things happen. And, you don't, not to say that makes it feel any better, especially for the family, right? You know what I mean? So I'm not, obviously I never met the guy, but I'm sure that, we'd all rather him be alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's funny the way things work. You know what I mean? The really cool stuff comes out of terrible circumstances. You know what I mean? But, and I'm just, I'm stoked that you're doing it. That's for sure. Me and a bunch of people are going to have a lot of fun. And I just all I have to do is worry about memorizing them. Geez, the 30-minute set, like 5 songs. That's all I got to do. You know what I mean? And the rest of the day, I'm just going to hang out. So I get to do like, probably bring my daughter. I'll get to hang out with my kid, watch bands, play music, and talk to musicians. So it's like, I'm just pretty much going to be on vacation all day and having fun, you know? So I'm excited about it.
It's going to be a good time. And this time I'm finally, or this year I'm going to, I took the time, and last year I tried to wear a bunch of different hats. I was mixing stages, and supervising and all that. And this year I've kind of given that up to my team, to handle.
Smart.
Because they last year were like, let me do this, let me do that, let me do this. And I'm like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
And then so now this year I'm giving them all a little more free run of it to to take care of it. So same thing. I mean, last year I was trying. There were bands that were like, hey, let's have a beer. And I'm like sipping a beer, and I'm like, hey, thanks for playing. And I'm like running off in the other direction, or like even Karina from Jerry's was like, have you eaten? And I was like, no. She's like, here's a slice. I took like 2 bites, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave it on the counter real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Come back, it's gone. So
that's it sounds like you're really passionate about this, and that seems to be something that people do when they're really into their work. You know what I mean? And it's a good thing, but also too, I think on the same token, is being as one who tends to do different circumstances. Again, I don't book festivals, but I can, when I'm doing work that I'm passionate about, I tend to be a little bit of obsessive with, you know what I mean, and deny my maybe eating a proper amount of calories for the day, or that kind of thing. So it'd probably be in the long run better for you to learn how to make it more of a healthy machine or a healthy team behind it, so that way you can maybe have a little bit more memories that aren't just a blur.
Yeah.
And eat actual food. You know what I mean? That'd be good for you, and still have fun though. You know what I mean?
Fest 3 was super fun, but like the most vivid memory was like getting home and like pulling my shirt off of me because it was like so sticky with sweat from what a hot day it was.
Jerry's in September or whatever.
It was just too much. I remember like just feeling like no amount of water is gonna just wash all this sweat off.
That's cool though, man. That's like I said, there's just I know a lot of musicians that I admire a lot in this town that are really good, and it's like it takes a certain special someone to do that. But I don't know much about like you're into the thing, and I book my bands a bunch, throughout the years, and especially recently I booked past couple of years a lot of solo gigs, or a year and a half or whatever it's been. I put on a CD release show for the rock band that Matt moved out of town back to South Carolina, so we kind of disbanded, at least for now. And we booked the biggest event I think I booked was our album release show. There's like 5 bands, and I was like, oh, that's too stressful. You know what I mean? So it takes we all got to make money, blah blah blah, all that stuff. We have to have our air conditioner bill paid for and pay rent and all that. But like, there's a lot of jobs you could do that with, and you're choosing to do this. So it's like I feel like there's a certain amount of passion that's going into it, and care about not only just your friend, of course, that passed, but like it's like you were in a band, but like you're like, I want to help the bands now, or give them an opportunity. I don't know. You did it to me. You hooked me up with it, playing solo gigs at Timler and stuff. So it's like. Yeah, that's a feeling I get,
Yeah, and I do. I want to help bands, and I've hooked a bunch of them up with, they'll like, hey, I want to play out of town. I'm like, well, hit this guy up and tell him I sent you. Hit Transplants up, tell him I sent you. That's so cool. And because I remember when I was in a band, how hard it was to just like, message someone in Fresno, like, hey, we're in Bakersfield, but we would like to play Fresno, and then
nobody
just see it read, and then nobody responds, and then not until you like do something kind of cool that then they're like, oh, you want to come play over here?
Yep.
It's like you can start making it over there. I mean, that's how you expand out.
Yeah.
So I've been sending a lot of bands towards Fresno and Palmdale, and then a few to LA here and there. So
I'm open to those spots too. I haven't played Fresno, I just can't crack that nut right now. I'm always open to anything. Well, of course, if it's country, loosely country oriented, I guess I would be. But that's cool. You're doing that. I have bands sometimes that want to book a show, and would you? Not that you may not be able to do anything for them immediately, but I could throw them your number, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Just even if it doesn't happen immediately, eventually, you know what I mean? Be like, look, this guy books like all over the place with tons of bands. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times too, even if I can't personally do it, I'll say, hey, you know what, that date's taken, or whatever, and then I'll say, but hit this guy up,
right,
he might be able to help you out, and at least I don't want to just send anyone into the dark or just like, oh,
sure,
that's it. At least give them some direction, like try and hit them up,
some stones to overturn at least.
Yeah,
because there's no guarantees. That's what kind of makes it kind of crazy when playing music. Is you don't know, you know what I mean? But but it helps to know people because too, especially like if the way I look at it, like if if the guy's cool, sounds like his band's tight, and I can't can't get him on a bill or refer him to anybody immediately, it's still good contact because what if something comes up and you're like, oh, there's that one dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like kind of helps go both ways, I guess. Well, sweet, man. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to go on. I know you texted me the time. I don't remember what time. What time does Fest actually start? Let's get into all that stuff.
So Fest 4 will be at Tambler Brewing September 2nd. It'll be from 11 a.m. to midnight.
Okay, long
so
day.
First band goes on at 11 a.m. Box office open at 10:30. And I mean, it's similar to last year. Last year, I think we started at 11:30.
Gotcha.
But this time we're gonna just do it just a little earlier.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be, like I said, a good day. It's gonna be 30 plus bands. The Art and Poetry Garden. Temple will be having some beer specials and food specials. And then we'll have there'll be all kinds of stuff to do, man.
Yeah.
I mean, with, not just music, but art, poetry, the vendors,
great food,
video games, food, beer,
just in case somebody hasn't been to, this is pretty, like I said, the fairly big buzz is looking like in Bakersfield. In case they haven't been to Timber or never, and actually for myself too, like, the different stages, will they be revolving, like alternating, like a couple bands are setting up and this band's playing as soon as they're done, they go to the other stage, kind of like how Jerry's was doing?
Yeah, just like we did last year. Yeah,
okay.
So it'll be the same way. So the two indoor stages.
So they won't have to miss a band if they don't want to?
Correct. The two indoor stages will be alternating all day. So, first stage 2 goes live first this year.
Yeah.
So they'll be going while we're getting main stage finished set up. And then the second that they're done, main stage goes on. Oh, sorry. And then... The only difference is the outdoor stage will just kind of rotate like a regular stage, but it's outdoors.
Right.
So
it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's hard to get the three to play together.
Right. Are there gonna be more mellow acts on the outdoor stage, kind of like how that was the alley at Jerry's in Fest 3? Like,
yeah, like I put the heavier stuff and like the more rock stuff inside.
Makes
and
sense.
Put a little bit of the calmer stuff outside.
Makes sense.
Because then also outside it'll be under a tent.
Sure.
And then there'll be tables and stuff. So that that's where you'll have a spot to like sit down, relax.
We're listening,
get some food.
Vibes.
Yeah.
So and everybody too will have to be looking on their little heart app on their health thing on their phone because they're going to be able to walk a lot of steps and burn off all the beer as they're going around all the stages.
Oh yeah, totally.
That'd be good. Get to move around and stuff. Well, cool deal. Go ahead and unless Alan has something to add or you have something to add, go ahead and tell the audience where they can find you. As far as looking up for get the information about Fest or of course any other show that you got Chris Shiflett coming later on, and I'm booked some cool punk bands a little while ago, and so you always got something going on to check out. Is it just Plan B on Instagram? So @ Plan B Productions.
Yeah. So for Fest we have our own Instagram. It's @FestCA.
Okay.
And then you can add my show page, which is Ruben Numbskull Shows.
Okay.
And then. Everything is on Eventbrite.
Okay.
So Eventbrite will have all the information for Fest.
Is there links to Eventbrite by any chance on these Instagram pages you're numbing off?
Yeah.
Okay,
on there there'll be links to all the tickets.
Like a link tree kind of thing.
Yeah. So you'll be able to go from Instagram to Eventbrite, purchase tickets. There's extra information on there as well. And then of course on my show page, the at Ruben Numbskull Shows. You can always message me if you have a question or anything about the event. You can even message the Fest page. It's me who's answering. So, and I try and answer everybody as fast as I can, but it mostly is, me answering it. So, bear with me, give me a little time.
You're a little bit busy, guys. So if it takes a few days,
But we got a bunch of stuff coming up. I mean, you're playing with Chris Shiflett at Tambler on August 26th. So that's leading up to it. And then we also have our reggaeton night, Gasolina, which is the night before.
Cool.
And then with Fest that week, so the night before Fest, September 1st, we have Sugar, the new metal party, playing stuff like Korn, the Deftones, System of a Down, Limp Bizkit, all the big new metal hits.
Yeah.
Kind of as a Fest pre-party.
Oh, cool.
And so come out the night before, you'll be able to see a lot of the stuff pretty much set up already.
Right.
And then, dance some old new metal.
That'd be cool. Hear a little chop suey from System of a Down.
Yeah, exactly. Like we had Sugar come through earlier in the year, and it was super fun. Yeah, they throw a bunch of like black balloons out. They have like a photo backdrop, and it's a whole thing. And then Fest will be September 2nd at Temblor, and then it's a little bit of an intense week for us because Sugar's at Transplants the night of Fest, so that's due in Palmdale, and then the day after Fest, we pack up and we go to Tioga Brewing in Fresno for Flog and Molly.
Dang, I didn't even know they're touring over there.
Yeah.
Jeez, I haven't seen them in forever, man.
Definitely going to be an intense week. So if you message me anytime after that, I will probably be hiding under the covers asleep.
So for sure. Yeah. But follow those Instagram handles because obviously for Fest, but you guys put on some cool shows and have some cool bands. So if you're at all a music fan of any kind of genre of music, they should follow your Instagram accounts because you guys book all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just on the festival, I'm country and Western, some songs more than others, but that kind of vibe, I guess you could say, or sometimes literally that style, depending on the song. But got rock bands, got pop rock bands, heavy metal bands, hardcore bands, and that you book a wide variety of bands even outside of Fest. You got a lot of stuff going on. So if you like music, check it out. Alan, do you want to take it away, or you got anything else you want to say, or we good?
No, I think it'll be good.
Cool. And then Alan, do you want to do the ending things?
Yeah. So you could find obviously this podcast and our other episodes at bandsofbakersfield.com. Follow us on Instagram, Bands of Bakersfield, Facebook, Bands of Bakersfield, and we also have a Twitter page, Bands of Bako. Look us up.
Sweet.
Cool.
Thanks for coming, Ruben. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for having me.